Hello and welcome to another Q&A here on StephenVlog. This is for the month of December 2015 as we start giving you the vlogs that were recorded in December 2015. You're saying, isn't it February? Shut up. They're coming. We're getting caught up. It's happening, slowly but surely. As a side note, before we get started on this, great questions. There were a lot of good questions, and I don't just throw that out all willy-nilly. I mean that because we always answer like 10 questions, and this time we had like 25, and we're like, crap, so we had to cut it down. With that said, if you asked a question and you thought, man, my question's really good, then you should re-ask it because there's a good chance that we'll answer it next month. Let's get started. Yeah, sorry.
Our first question is from Xeno Mata. Is there a bias when picking and choosing questions? For example, certain people, avatars, names, prior question asking history, etc.
There is no bias. As far as choosing a question, it's pretty simple. It's like, go to video page.
Read questions.
Load all comments. Read all comments. You read a comment and you're like, that question's good. Put it in a text file. And then you keep going and you go through all of them. I will agree that it does seem like sometimes certain people have their questions answered multiple times, especially like if this person had said that they were actually going back and watching Q&As. So if you're watching a lot of Q&As, you'll probably notice names. That's just a psychological thing. You'll pick up on that. But also, it does happen. And I think it's because people that ask good questions generally continue to ask good questions. I mean, straight up, like people that get their questions answered a lot they just ask good questions. I mean, they ask things that are different or haven't been asked before. They're just good about phrasing things, and honestly, that's, I think, the reason. So there's no bias, but I think it can definitely seem like it because we certainly do answer questions by the same person multiple times if the questions are all really good.
Next question.
Next question.
Nathan Hummel says, have you ever met a big YouTuber?
Have you ever met a big YouTuber?
Is Emil the biggest person I know?
Yes.
Then that would be it.
Yeah, Emil's the biggest YouTuber we know personally. I mean, he has 1 million subscribers. He has 1 million. Emil has 1 million. Never mind. So that's the biggest person we know. But I've had opportunities to meet Markiplier, Toby Turner, like not just like, oh, he's not like in packs where there's like
a meet and greet.
Yeah, not a meet and greet type thing, but like in close quarters company things. And like there's been parties and stuff that the network has thrown before that we've went to, and tons of big YouTubers that are within the network, Markiplier, Toby Turner, people like that are there, but I've never met them. And it's not that, I mean, I've had the opportunity to do so in a small environment, but there's no reason to, in my opinion. Like, I don't watch their stuff, and I don't really know what I would say to them. It would just be like, hi, you're a big YouTuber. I mean, I don't care. It doesn't mean anything to me to say that I've met them. And I'm not trying to knock them. This is not me knocking them at all. It's just saying I don't have a personal reason to meet them. I don't watch their stuff. I don't watch a lot of YouTube anyway. So like it wouldn't mean anything to me to actually like meet Markiplier or meet Toby Turner. I mean, some people watch their stuff and then it is a big deal to them. Like some people watch our stuff and it's a big deal for them to meet us. But because I don't watch their stuff and I don't really know them, that's not going to be a long exchange. It would just be like, oh, you're a big person and you got the subscribers.
Good for you.
Good for you. And they would be like, who are you? And then they won't know who I am and they'll forget who I am in like 10 minutes. So, yeah. But I've had opportunities to meet those people. I mean, if I don't know, if I ever felt like it would, like I don't know exactly. If I ever felt like it would do me some good to like talk to these people, then I would. Like if I had a legitimate question, like maybe I saw that there was something that happened to Markiplier's channel or something like that, and I was in a situation where I could talk to him, then I would introduce myself and ask him a question. That kind of thing would happen. But I mean, I don't idolize these people just because they're a lot bigger. They're just other people making videos, in my opinion. Anyway.
Next question.
Yep.
Spiffleh, how do you decide which image will be featured at the end of a Fallout episode?
So for those who are not watching Fallout 4, you should. It's great. It's going on one at a time, just like Skyrim. It's a fun thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Aha, I gotcha. We do fan art at the end of the episodes. Let me throw this out real quick. Make more fan art. Seriously, make more fan art. Not only because I love it, but because I do love it, but we're getting kind of low. We just have a few to choose from. Generally, it's all about relevancy. I watch the episode when I'm editing it, and when I've finished, I go through and I look at all of the stuff that's been submitted that hasn't been used yet, and if there's something that's relevant, I use it. For example, a recurring theme in the series is hairbrushes. So if in the episode I come across a hairbrush in a weird / unusual place, then I will look for fan art that has been submitted that has a hairbrush element to it, and I might throw that in. There's actually a really good example. Someone made a piece of fan art really early in the series where Grit Jones is dressed in a suit. And it was all because in that episode I picked up a suit. I didn't put it on, I didn't wear it, but I picked it up. So someone sent in fan art of that. It was like a month or two later where I actually wore the suit. And then at the end of that episode, I was able to use that person's fan art. So it's just neat stuff like that. Also, for those that aren't aware of how the process works, whenever you tweet fan art at me, or you can also send it on Tumblr, but Twitter's easier for me. Whenever you tweet it, I go through and I get that fan art and I save it. And then it's all saved in a folder. So as soon as you submit that, I have it and I use that to decide what's going to go into the episodes.
Can I draw fan art?
Mm-hmm.
Grit Jones and my favorite character?
Yeah. Who's your favorite character?
Deacon.
Deacon.
Deacon's my favorite.
I don't know who Deacon is.
You haven't met Deacon.
I haven't met Deacon, so I will be on the lookout for your favorite character, though. All right.
Our next question comes from Zachary Weisenhorn. What was each of your favorite games released on StephenPlays for 2015 and just 2015 in general?
So basically our favorite project.
LP, yeah.
Yeah, our favorite LP, and then also video game that came out in 2015.
Fallout?
Probably Fallout, but also I don't even know if we bought any other games in 2015.
Not that I know of.
I mean, we probably did, maybe, but we don't buy a ton of video games, and a lot of stuff that we bring to StephenPlays is not brand new. Some of the stuff is, but not everything. I'm not exactly sure what we've done. Hello, kitty. Oh, there you are. You're kind of in shot. Get off. As far as like the Let's Plays,
Elmo's Number Journey. Night Trap.
No. We actually did quite a few things that I really enjoyed. First off, please help me to make sure that I'm not losing my mind. 2015 we did To the Moon, right?
Yeah.
Or was that 2 years ago and I'm old and dying fast?
I think it was this last year.
Oh god. Mal, it might have been 2014. Was it 2014?
No, it couldn't have been.
There's no way it
No,
could have been.
it had to have been last year.
It was last year, right?
Yeah. Because you got contacted by...
But that was last year. That was in 2015.
It had to have been.
We're sure.
Yeah, because we still have that package.
Okay. We'll talk about that in an upcoming mail video, by the way. Okay. So assuming that was in 2015 and we're not losing our minds.
To the Moon.
To the Moon was a strong one. Playing Pikmin with you was a strong one. And despite all of the problems and the headache, Tulip. I actually really enjoyed doing Tulip.
Now that it's done.
Now that it's over. The other thing is, like, we do so many projects, not because I don't have a list in front of me of everything that I did in 2015, I couldn't even tell you. The things that stick out in my mind the most, no matter what, is always the stuff I do with you, for whatever reason. Maybe it's just because I have another person there bouncing commentary off of me. And
you did Assassin's Creed?
Yeah, obviously I always do Assassin's
you
Creed.
Did...
And Brotherhood is freaking good, man.
You did...
It's really good.
BioShock?
And BioShock was really crap. I don't know if I could have a favorite. A lot of the games I did in 2015 were just really good games, and there were games I really wanted to do. And even the blind stuff that I played, like Brotherhood and BioShock, they were freaking amazing games. They were just really spectacular. So we covered a lot of stuff, and I'm happy with the way everything's turned out. Even Fallout is coming along really well, and it has, despite it having spoken dialogue, it still has a Skyrim feel to me, and I enjoy the way that's going. So if I had a full list of everything we did in 2015 in front of me, then I'd probably just start listing like everything on that list, because it was a good year for StephenPlays. Like, not even in terms of like viewership, but just in terms of how I felt about it. It was fun. It was a good year. We did a lot of fun stuff, and I enjoyed what we did.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Next question.
Yeah.
King Samurott 10 says, on day 1169, you officially stopped toilet training the cats. Did you ever go back and try again? Now that it's been a few years, would you ever try again?
So for anyone that's not aware, we tried toilet training the cats. It's a thing you can do. This might be the first you've heard of this. You can actually toilet train cats. It's not like the easiest thing in the world, but you just do it gradually, and you can get them to do their business in the toilet. Now you might be saying, well, what's the benefit of that? Well, the benefit is you don't have to buy litter.
It doesn't get all over the place.
It doesn't get all over the place, which is a big problem if you don't have carpet. Like, we have hardwood floors and tile, and litter's everywhere, man. You step on it and you know. So yeah, that's an advantage. But you kind of have to break the cat's natural instinct to want to dig. And it's not harmful to the cat, but it's an evolutionary instinctual thing in their head that's like, gotta do this. So you have to like teach them to not do it. Anyway, we worked on it for many, many months, and Sagan was getting it, and he was doing good, but Kep just wasn't getting it. And the problem with having two cats and trying to toilet train them at the same time was that the one needs to go to like the next step, because it was like a ring system, and you like kept taking out rings until finally you were just doing it into the toilet. And like, you'd remove a ring because Sagan was ready, but then Kep was not ready, and then they'd lose their mind, you know? And like, if they didn't like what was going on exactly, they would just like poop on the floor, you know? And that was bad. So after a while, we decided that it was really stressing Kepler, is what it was doing. Sagan was cool with it. He could have done it, and he could have completed it for sure. But it was stressing Kepler, and you could tell it was stressing him. So we ultimately decided that it wasn't worth giving him that stress, because it was bothering him, and we didn't want to bother him.
He was like freaking out when he had to go.
Yeah, it came down to that, because he'd have to go to the bathroom, and he was like, he hated that idea of having to do that. And like, he was good at the early stages, but as we tried to progress him, he just couldn't do it. So we stopped doing it. We gave them a litter box, and the very next day, like, whoop, litter box, fine, everything's cool. Both of them use litter box, and Mal and I just decided, you know what, it's fine. We were gonna toilet train them, but in retrospect, it's probably better that we didn't toilet train them, because we are not home a lot. I mean, let me rephrase that. I'm home like all the time, but when we take trips, which we've done a lot of in the past like 2 years, we're gone for a long stretch of time. And if they're gonna go into the toilet, like, someone's gotta be here to like flush the toilet, you know? And would it have worked out? I mean, maybe, but what it came down to is that it was stressing Kep out, and we're not going to stress Kep out. Kep deserves to just chill. So,
Kep needs to chill.
Yeah, Kep needs a chill pill anyway. That cat is high-strung. Maybe that's why I couldn't do it. Anyway, that's the answer to your question. Next question is specifically for Mao, and it's from buttercupisevil. Didn't know that. Mao, how do you balance your teaching career with your work with Stephen's channel? And this Q&A came out before Mao Makes came out. But if you didn't know, Mao has her own channel, youtube.com/MaoMakes. You should go check it out. It's good. And we can add that too. So how do you balance your teaching career with your work on StephenPlays and also Mao Makes?
In my life.
And in your personal social life.
That is highly affected.
Yeah.
Like, I'm supposed to go to a birthday party next weekend. It's hard. Like, because I do a lot of, like, cooking, cleaning.
Yeah.
Have you ever scrubbed a toilet?
Yeah. Yeah, a few times. I mean, I was generally the person that cleaned the toilet, I think, in college. Well,
Here,
I
though.
shouldn't. I should say that. I feel strongly Dan and I probably split those responsibilities 50
Here, though.
because we shared a bathroom. Anyway, what?
Here, though.
Yeah, but not very often. You're the person that does that.
So I do a lot.
Yeah. You do.
It's hard.
There's Mal works extremely hard, like super extremely hard, and a lot of times I get the attention for the person that works really hard, but in reality we're both working incredibly and extremely hard because yes, I'm working on videos all the time, and people cite like the time I got sent to the ER for stress, but you get up at 6 a.m. and you go to work and you come home at like 5 p.m. That's how long she's gone. That's an average day. Just want to throw that out there. She gets up at 6, doesn't get home until 5. So it's 11 hours. Then when she gets home, I may need her to do something. I may need her to record a video.
Hey, Mel, we need to record mail.
We need to record mail. We need to record a Q&A. We need to record
A first 20.
a first 20, you know, that kind of thing. And actually, you may notice that in recent months, I've done a lot more first 20s myself, and it's just because it's a lot. Just asking Mal to do that one thing when she's been at work all day, it's a big deal. So we've tried to, like, do that kind of stuff on the weekends, which is now becoming an even bigger impossibility because of Mal Makes.
Because that's when I paint.
So Mal get home at, like, 5 p.m., and she's also generally the one that makes dinner. I make dinner sometimes, but I'm going to take a step back and say most of the time, 80% or more of the time.
You tend to make dinner if it's like, here, cook a chicken breast in the oven, or here, cook up this pizza in the oven.
Now, in my defense, and this goes back to the whole we're both working a lot thing, in my defense, I work from the time I get up generally to the time I go to bed. So even into the evenings I'm working. That said, I don't think that you should cook all the time, and I'm sorry. Things have been really difficult because vlogs have been behind. And I know that when vlogs are caught up, a lot of stuff's going to get better. A lot of stuff's going to get better. But in the meantime, while I'm trying to juggle all this stuff, it's hard. So, we have to make dinner, and we might have to record something. And like by the time that all those things stack up, it's time to go to bed. Like Mal has not had a moment of time for any sort of
I haven't played
personal
Fallout in weeks.
well, not weeks. Maybe like
Weeks.
two weeks. But yeah, it's not that I ask her to record every single day or anything like that. But on the occasions that does happen, then we gotta do that. But even on the days that it's not, a lot of times Mal comes home and she's so exhausted she just goes straight to bed. Like she'll just come home and nap.
Yeah.
And a lot of that, even if she's getting an adequate sleep, just comes from a lot of the stress that is at school. Like, that's another world, man. And actually, that's one of the questions here. Yeah, we're going to get to that at the end of this Q&A. So we'll talk a little bit about that specifically near the end. But, yeah, it's a lot. And now that Mal Makes exists, she's doing her painting on the weekends. So, like, on Saturday, she'll get up and she'll paint for like 5 to 7 hours. And then on Sunday, she'll have to do that again in order to complete the painting. And then, now that Mal Makes exists, when she comes home, she's going to be, in the weekdays, she's going to be editing those videos. So, it's a lot. I have always been, like I said, I've always been the one that people are like, you work too much, you're doing too much. And now, actually, Mal it's rubbed off on you, because now you're doing all the same stuff. But it's also a good thing. I mean, like, Mal Makes needed to exist. Mal doesn't have the, you didn't have the creative outlet that you needed. You needed to be able to express yourself in those ways, and you needed something to look forward to. Not that there's not other things in your lives you don't look forward to, but, like, Mal gets genuinely passionate about the channel and about being able to create stuff in a way that she does not get at school. And you are passionate about the students, but this is like a different sort of passion, so. What is the question? I don't even know what we're talking about. Holy crap, I'm sorry.
How do I balance?
Yeah, the real answer is you don't.
I'm barely functioning.
We are both hanging on by a thread half the time. And that sounds terrible, and I know everyone's gonna be like, take a break, what are you doing? a lot of it comes down to, and I know it's weird that it all comes down to this, it really comes down to vlogs. It really does. Like, if vlogs are caught up and I can wake up in the morning, edit one vlog. Yesterday's vlog. And then work on getting Let's Plays ahead, then my evening is open to doing things like cooking dinner, to doing things like taking care of other stuff for her, so she doesn't have to worry about it.
Soon.
Real soon. Real soon, man. That's the biggest goal, is to get things caught up. It's not just for our own sake of being like, oh, we're caught up on vlog. It's like for our sanity's sake. Our lives will actually be enriched when vlogs are caught up. All right. Did we answer that question? We sort of did, right?
Yeah.
By saying it's not balanced at all.
Our next question is from Chris Koraltan. If you passed away, how would you announce that, and would your content continue?
No, I would be dead. It would be very hard. It'd be like corpse vlog. Someone would have the
whole string on the.
Oliver, I'm today. Today, I'm in a box. No, I mean, I don't know. It's a bit of a morbid question, but I guess it's a legitimate question. If I ever died, which I guess I will at some point, I feel like it would be announced, assuming that Mal and I didn't simultaneously die. If one of us passed away, then the other person would probably let everyone else know. Basically, we would probably make a video or social media or something, and then we would say it. As far as like content continuing, probably not. I mean, to be honest, if I die, I don't think Mal would continue StephenVlog. It seems odd to me. Maybe you would feel inspired to update it periodically or something, but probably not. And like StephenPlays probably also would not continue. I don't think he would just take up that torch and be like, I'll do it. Obviously, like,
there's a lot of things I don't know how to do.
Like, I mean, if Mal passed away, I wouldn't start painting, you know? Like, it's like those projects would just go away. But I think that's mostly understood, I think. But the true part of the question is, would you announce that, and how would you announce that? And we would get it out some way. I mean, our lives are on the internet, man. We posted like 6 years of our lives to the internet. Of course, if something happens to us that's relatively serious, even if we'd stopped the vlog, I mean, we would get out that last piece of information. We'd be like, hey, Stephen, drank bleach. He thought it was water. He was like, this is really funny smelling water, but he drank it.
It's a really hard safety cap.
What's wrong with this bottle of water? Why is it this shape? Weird. Anyway, next question. Get off that morbid subject. Mike C. says, what made you guys decide to live with each other in South Carolina? What made you decide to live here instead of Wisconsin?
Because it's cold.
You basically got used to the warm. Mm-hmm. I mean,
and now it gets to be like 50, and I'm like, this is the worst.
I mean, I don't want to say anything like, South Carolina is objectively better than the Midwest, because it's not, and people have opinions. But, I mean, if you're basing it on something like weather, then yeah, it's nice. It's a nice place to live. There's a lot of factors you got to consider. There's things like cost of living and quality of education and all of this other stuff. But when it came right down to it, I mean, we both kind of agreed that being in this area was preferable to being in the Midwest.
I'm tired of being cold.
That. And we got good temperatures pretty much year-round. It gets a little chilly sometimes, but usually not bad. Ben Collister. And this one's, I guess, kind of for me. But Ben Collister says, what was the process for choosing the game to play with the Runaway Guys? If you didn't see it recently, in October, recently, it's like 5 months ago now, but in October, I recorded with the Runaway Guys. We did Four Swords Adventures. The process for choosing that game is pretty simple. I had dinner with Emil, and Emil was like, so we want to have you on for the Runaway Guys. What game do you want to do? That was the process. I could have chosen a game, and I truly feel that Emil would have let me do whatever I wanted. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, whatever. We could have done anything. I'm sure it would have been fine. But I instead asked him, I said, well, you know your audience better. You know what people watching the Runaway Guys want to see? What is it they want to see? What's a project that you want to do? And he said, well, one thing we've always wanted to do for years and years and years is Four Swords Adventures. And he said, if you're cool with that, that would be a really good project for us to do. Not to mention, you also have the equipment, so you could help do it, because there's so much equipment that was necessary. And I was excited about that because I've never completed the game. I got it the day it came out. I had a party where me and Jarrett, Justin, and Austin played the game, and we never got past like World 2 or whatever. And then later on in college, we got all the equipment to get together again. It's on the vlog, and we didn't get past World 2. So like, I've always wanted to know like what else is in what's in the game. And the game's actually pretty long. It takes a long time to get through it. So that was it. You know, he suggested that. They've always wanted to do it, and I was like, yes, let's do it, because I want to know what happens. So that was the process. But I could have done anything. And then on that note, iHeartNinjas24 asks, how intense was the recording process with the Runaway Guys? I know because they can't meet up all the time that they record games in full. I know you did that over the summer for To the Moon because you needed the content done. Was it really draining on you? And is it something you'd ever consider for any of your projects, even if you're not traveling and need bulk content? I'll start by saying that recording bulk content is the way to go. Just in general, it doesn't matter if you're traveling or not. And if we can do that, asterisk, then we will. The asterisk is assuming we won't piss anyone off, because there are some games, Pikmin, that you really need to play at a smaller rate. You need to do little tiny batches, because if you don't, then inevitably there's going to be people offering you suggestions that you can't take because you've already completed the game. But just in general, doing batch content like that is so helpful, and that's actually the kind of stuff that helps me get vlogs done, which is one of the reasons why we're doing like Journey. Journey is completely recorded. It's really, really short. And it's like 6 episodes.
Dragon Ball.
And Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball is completely recorded as well. So we actually did those 2 games so we could batch record them so I could start focusing on vlogs. So those are 2 examples of games that are completely done. But you got to be really careful about the games that you choose to do that way, because if it's a game that people want to offer a lot of stuff, then you'll make them upset. And you don't want to make them upset. So it was a learning experience with Pikmin. So was it draining to do it that way? Not particularly. I do have to say something, and I hope I'm not trying to call out Emil or John or Tim, and I'm not trying to put them down in any way whatsoever. And we're friends and we're buddies, and I think that they would agree with me. They don't have a lot of structure when it comes to creating the Runaway Guys videos. They don't have like a
schedule. Yes,
they don't have a schedule. And I learned this whenever I got there the first day. I was talking to them and I said, so, you know, what is the schedule? And they all just kind of laughed, and they're like, we don't really have a schedule. And I was like, okay, but when do you record? And Emil's like, whenever he gets up. And John was like, shut up. I get up whenever. And I was like, but so what is a normal day for you? And they said, well, sometimes we get started by like 1 or 2. And I'm like, it's a little late, but okay. And they're like, but sometimes we won't get started until like 5 or sometimes later. And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, sometimes like everyone gets up and we have dinner and then we start recording. And I'm like, okay, no. So I don't even mind, but I'm gonna completely take credit for this. And once again, I don't think Emil, John, or Tim would actually argue this at all. I'm taking credit for the fact that we completed 4 Swords Adventures in 2 days. I will 100% take credit for that, because when I found out that that's the way that they operated, I said, okay, it's not going to be like that while I'm here. Sorry, we're not doing it like that. I made sure that everyone was up. Everyone was up in time for lunch. Everyone, including John, who really likes to stay up late. I talked to him beforehand, and I talked to Emil, and I talked to everyone, and I said, this is the way it's going to be. We're going to bed now. We are going to get up at this time. We are going to go eat lunch. We're going to come back. We're going to record 2 worlds. Then we're going to go eat dinner, come back and record 2 worlds. We do that 2 days, we're done. And honestly, I completely believe if I wouldn't have done that, it would have taken 3 or even 4 days to do that entire game. But that's, I mean, it's clearly working for them. They do produce the content, but they could produce more. They could actually record more if they stuck to a schedule a little bit more. But yeah, once again, I'll totally take credit for that, getting it done in 2 days. I don't think they would argue with me on that because I can. The thing is, I couldn't work like that. You know, I couldn't get up and be like, oh, I wonder when we're starting. You know, we have to start at a certain time. We have to, you know, get this stuff done. And the good thing was, it allowed us to have additional time to do things like D&D. We got to devote 2 entire nights to D&D and produce a lot of extra fun content on the vlog for you guys because we didn't have to worry about 4 swords. Anyway.
Didn't you do like extra 4 swords stuff too?
We did, yeah, there's a battle mode that we did where you fight each other, and then we also did some stuff that wasn't 4 swords. Okay. We did, it's the Monopoly game. We did that, and then we also did a stream. So like that's all stuff that wouldn't have been possible because we still would have been working on 4 swords. So yeah, if I ever record with them in the future, and I think they'll have me back to do something, I'm gonna be the same way. Like I'm gonna be like, no, we wake up at lunch, we eat lunch, we record, and we get this stuff out of the way and finished. So that's a little glimpse into the world of the Runaway Guys, and hopefully I'm not stepping on anyone's toes or making any of them upset by sharing that, but I just thought it was a fun thing to share. Finally, last question is from Filipe Rodrigues. Seeing how hard Mal works, or feeling it, in case of Mal herself, and knowing what she goes through every school day, does it make you retroactively appreciate the work of the teachers you had through your school years?
As a teacher, yes.
You must think, holy crap, those people work so hard.
Actually, it's my 10-year reunion this year. Mm-hmm. And yesterday I got out my yearbook and I'm looking through it. And I was like, man, I would have hated to have that kid in class as a teacher. Yeah. Like, man, I remember, like, the teacher having to deal with that kid. And now I realize how awful it was.
I mean, another thing to think about is I will never understand exactly what it's like to be a teacher. Mal knows, obviously, because she's a teacher. She goes through that. I have secondhand experience because I get the stories every single day. And that's better than anyone else that would have it, but that's still not as good as, you know, Mal's experience itself. Yeah, living it. But from the stuff she tells me, it's crazy. I mean, it's legitimately crazy. There's some stuff that goes on that it's like, are you kidding me? Like, how dare a child say that to you? Like, I get mad. I get really mad, and very passionate, because it's, to a student's just looking at you and they're like, well, you're a teacher, but that's not a teacher. That's my wife. So, like, to hear stories of, like, a student back-talking her and saying some of the stuff they say is insane. I mean, some of the stuff that she shares is, like, I actually cannot believe kids say that. I mean, there was some stuff that happened in my school, you know, growing up that was a little crazy. And, you know, we would talk about it like it was crazy, but then I hear the stuff happening now and I'm like, oh my God, that's nothing compared to the stuff going on.
How do you feel about, like, your own teachers in high school? Do you want to, like, go back and be like, I'm sorry?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, there's a few teachers that got walked on, and I saw it happening, and I think one of the things I think about now, especially from your point of view with having multiple classes, is like, and for anyone out there in a class, you think about the fact that maybe there's a few kids in your class that give a teacher some trouble, right? You know, maybe you've got a class of 30 and there's like 3 or 4 troublemakers, and you're thinking, well, that's not too many. Those 3 or 4 troublemakers are hell for a teacher. Now, consider the fact that you walk out of that classroom, you're done, out of sight, out of mind. You don't think about that situation anymore, but that teacher gets another class in there, and they got another 3 or 4 troublemakers. And then before you know it, the entire day is like that because you've got a few troublemakers in each class. So for the teacher, it's like problems all day, you know?
Then you get to call home.
Yeah.
Then you get to contact principals.
Yeah. And then as a teacher, you're always worried about your position because the parents are always right. The teacher's the one in the room with the kid. They know what's going on, and the teacher, she'll tell me about some of the calls, and they're crazy. The parents are crazy. They call and they're like, "Oh, you don't know my child," and I'm thinking, I'm pretty sure she does. I'm pretty sure she does because she spends more time with your kid than you do. The kid's at school all day. Holy crap! Sorry. I'm passionate about this because Mal's been teaching for a few years now, and teaching is a hard profession. Whether you're in high school or college or whatever, those people are working way too hard for not nearly enough pay, and you need to give them the utmost respect you can. I'm serious about that. It's absurd. College is better. Sorry, I should clarify. College is better.
Because people have to pay to be there.
People are paying to be in college. High school and the lower grades are certainly a different experience, but yeah.
I've gone back and thanked my teachers. One of them taught me to write essays.
And
I could have never gotten into college without her.
And another thing is, that kind of stuff sticks with people. Mal tells me the stories of like students that, you know, have come up and given her something or told her.
Have we told my painting story?
No.
I know this is a Q&A and we're already going really long. Can I tell my painting story?
You were already long.
Hi, Sagan.
Everything's happening. The cat's like, I need a lap. Is that okay?
Can I sit here?
Sure, just lay down. It's story time. Go ahead.
So, this year I have, one of my classes is like the highest art level we have this year. Mm-hmm. We don't have anyone above our level that we're at right now. So, the students in that class had taken more art than anyone else in the school. And I decided, because it wasn't AP art, to treat it like AP prep, pre-AP art. Mm-hmm. So I decided to take all the AP art requirements, cut them in half, and say, go. Mm-hmm. And I would walk around in conference and be like, so, you know, what's the plan with this? Oh, why don't you maybe think about trying this? And it was really kind of independent, and it was great. I had a really great group of all girls, no guys. Mm-hmm. And part of what their requirements were was to pick a theme. This was the second quarter. And they had to pick a theme and then make a certain amount of pieces on that theme, which is part of the AP portfolio requirement. And one of my students, who's probably one of my most talented students, said, I want to paint video games. And I thought, it's kind of uninspired, just video game, you know, AP is supposed to be really deep and come from the heart. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay. And I was like, well, she's talented, maybe she's gonna spin something on this. And for their final, they had to present their theme projects and read their artist statement. And she started talking about her pieces and reading her artist statement, and she said, my theme was, I picked 5 people that have touched my life, and I found out what video game was important to them, and then I painted a painting, and I'm going to give that to them. Mm-hmm. And when she started doing it, she had asked me, because I just thought she was making a list of games, and I was like, Earthbound, definitely, you know, that's my game, that's how I met my husband. She's like, okay. She wrote down, like, Ocarina of Time and Pac-Man and
Mega Man,
and what was her name called? World of Warcraft. And I was like, okay, kind of strange list, whatever. Mm-hmm. She wants to paint them. And I didn't really think much of it when she presented her final. I was just like, huh. Because she's like, oh, you know, I played this game with my brother, and so, you know, this World of Warcraft painting's going to be for him because we spent a lot of time playing it. And, you know, my mom used to play Pac-Man when she was my age, and so, you know, this Pac-Man one's for her. I was like, huh. She didn't really explain the other ones, and I'm thinking, okay, you know, well, there must be something about them because she talked about that. And then the bell rang, and they left, and she stayed for a few minutes, and she walked over with the Earthbound painting and handed it to me. And a lot of the students, like, they're like, oh, I want to buy that from you. And they talk about that with their work, like, oh, I want that. You'll give that to me, right? And that was the piece a lot of the other kids were like, you're going to give this to me, right? And she goes, no, I have to give it to the person that it's for. And she walked over and handed it to me. And I'm like, what's this? I'm like, you're giving this to someone, because you said they all had stories. And she goes, yeah. And I was like, so why you handed it to me? It didn't click. And she goes, yeah, that person was you. And I was like, wait. And she goes, I said I picked 5 people who touched my life. And I was like, oh my God. And I started crying, and now I'm tearing up again, but she gave the painting to me. So it's Tyler Oakley painted as Ness, and she did a really great job with it.
So yeah.
There's good. There's a lot of
There is good. And also, if you have a teacher that does touch your life or inspire you, like, let them know. Because, there's your example. Like, they don't forget that. They really don't. And honestly, sometimes they need it, to be honest. Like, sometimes the days are really, really, really hard. As someone who lives with a teacher and here's the stuff that she comes home and puts up with, sometimes you need those, like, good stories. And sometimes those are what makes all the difference. And that's, like, the driving factor to keep going. So... Sorry, we're not trying to end on a sad note or anything. It's like happy. It's happy, sad. This is like the longest Q&A ever. Sorry, or enjoy. Maybe you really enjoyed that. They'll try and be a little shorter in the future. Ask your questions for next month. I'm gonna try and get to them as fast as I can. Once again, huge incentive for us to get caught up. Our lives get better when vlogs are caught up, and I'm working on it. Slow and steady wins the race, man. I know that they're not all boom exploding and you have them all, but I'm doing the best I can, and I'm making progress, so I can't get too upset. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next month, which will be hopefully sooner than that, for another... I burped.
I hear it.
Yeah. For another...
You're concerning the cat on your lap.
Q&A.
You're singing as like an orc.
What song you want me to sing as an orc?
Just end the Q&A and sing it as an orc.
Thank you for watching the Q&A. Now we have to go away. But we'll see you soon, won't you say? We'll see you next time on the Q&A. Hey.
I'm like an orc Fonzie. The cat's gonna leave my... Oh, yeah, he left. Ouch.